another turn for a subject that needs to be spoken on in the sport of boxing. This editorial is going to focus on the officiating, the referees of the sport of boxing, where we have seen on countless occasions, especially as of late, that they have shown the propensity for disgusting officiating, disgraceful, and that's where we are with this episode of Loon Coon Buffoonery. Disgraceful officiating in the sport of boxing. We have seen so much of this as of late that it really puts a sour taste in your mouth regarding the sport. Whether it's stoppages that happen too quickly or fights that should be stopped and the official in the ring doesn't step forward to assert himself to end the fight, allowing a fighter to take too much damage. We've also seen referees allow fouling by a particular fighter and not take points, not give warnings to take points, and so forth. These things are happening to the degree that even the casual observer is starting to begin to understand. If you're a house fighter, the promoter's contracted fighter, you receive favorable points to the degree that it's outright cheating. We saw recently when Rolando Romero was fighting and was having a tough go against an opponent, and as soon as he did something to get his opponent in a position of defensive posture, referee Tony Weeks stepped in and stopped the fight. Rolando had been dropped in the fight. He was on his way to possibly losing a decision, and out of nowhere, Weeks asserted himself with no explanation, no post-fight interview to discuss why his actions were as they were. But he's not the only one. That's not the only fight. We've seen this from countless officials, whether it was Russell Mora in the Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury trilogy match, where Mora, after witnessing Deontay Wilder drop Tyson Fury, when Fury had dropped Wilder earlier, he issued a count to Wilder right away. But when Wilder dropped Fury, Mora took extra time by directing and redirecting Wilder to a neutral corner and picking up the count where he stopped instead of where the outside ring counter was issuing a count, leading to the fact that Fury was able to get up inside of Mora's count. But if he was going with the outside official's count, the fight would have been over. These type of things that have happened too many times. Jack Reese, an official who has stated on his own accord that he does what's for the greater good of boxing as he officiates a match. He's been known to stop fights too soon. He's been known to let fights go on a little too long. There is no consistency with how he officiates a fight, and anyone, whether you're a champion, challenger, or contender, you should be concerned when Jack Reese is officiating your bouts. Another official that we've seen, Kenny Bayless. This gentleman often figures a way to be non-existent instead of being hands-on, and is sometimes too hands-on when he should really take a step back and be non-existent. The inconsistencies are horrendous in the sport, and it affects the outcome. It affects fighters' careers. It also affects fighters' psyche when you're dealing with a second man in the ring outside of who you spent a training camp preparing for. Referees have been known to be switched at the 11th hour before a fight without explanation. That's another sign of a potential for something corrupt to be afoot. When these things are happening, not enough people are aware to pay attention. When they happen to certain fighters, the fighters are aware, but there's not enough that they can do or say to draw the attention to what's taking place. We even seen the referee Mark Nelson, where in August of 2021, when Micah Fox was fighting Gabriel Mastre, and this was for a WBA interim world title match, welterweight, where Fox had Mastre down in the second round, was boxing him excellently, and the official, Mark Nelson, went on to warn Micah of blows that weren't low and things of that nature. And eventually, when the fight ended in the 12th round, the final bell, judges saw favor in Mastre winning the fight when Micah Fox had clearly outboxed the gentleman, but the officiating was horrible. And we've seen recently, last year, Carlos Padilla, who was a veteran referee for a number of years in the sport, openly admit that a fight that he officiated between Manny Pacquiao and Nadal Hussein, he made certain that he gave Pacquiao every bit of favor when he was dropped in the first round by a devastating punch, and Pacquiao was worse for wear, looked like he might not make it. Padilla gave him extra time and everything to gather his faculties, and even in the 4th round he deducted a point from Hussein, leveling up the fight for Pacquiao. And Pacquiao would go on to get a decision out of this fight, but Padilla actually admitted that he cheated. He's long retired now, but he came out and openly said this. But there are people who will refuse to think that there is cheating in the sport, that corruption doesn't have a hand on the sport as one may think, but it's there. So we have to stay focused up and pay attention to everything, especially if you have an interest in it. But this is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, share. Let me know what your thoughts are regarding the disgusting and disgraceful officiating in boxing. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone, please remain safe.